Hello and welcome, and in today's video I'm going to be studying SamDoesArts. If you don't know who he is a digital artist based in Toronto, Canada, and his unique style has captured millions and millions and millions across platforms all over the world, especially over the last 3 to 5 years. But why am I studying Sam? I think for me it's that he, among many others like Ross Drawers, Aaron Blaze, Glenn Keane, and TB Choi, he is partly responsible for my love for art and wanting to start art when I did in 2023. I'd been following him before that, and I always wondered, how does he do this, how does he do that? So this video is going to be broken down into 3 parts. The first part is going to be the analysis, where I just talk about what I find captivating about his style and what exactly I'm trying to get out of it. The second part is going to be the study, where I'm going to follow along with a process video of his, and you guys are going to see the time lapse for that. And I'm just going to talk about the things that I learned while going through that process. And the third part is application, where I will be applying that to a portrait that I'm going to do of Alyssa Liu, the figure skating world champion of the Winter Olympics. So if that sounds good, feel free to follow along. So part 1, analysis. I think when it comes to Sam's style, there's some things that really stick out to me. Number 1 is the use of color and light. His colors are very bright and saturated, but he uses them in a way that does not seem overwhelming or overstimulating. He likes the colors blue and orange and yellows and reds. Those are colors that you'd see evidently throughout almost all of his pieces. And yes, there's some pieces that he's done that are sort of dull, but the lighting that he uses in those pieces are captivating, so to speak. And that's one of the things that we're going to try and learn from Sam today. Another thing is the stylization of his characters, specifically in the proportions of the eyes and the facial features in general. He's spoken to this and has said that he takes a lot of inspiration from Glenn Keane, who is an old Disney animator who worked on Tarzan, The Little Mermaid, and Rapunzel in Tangled, and he has this very unique style of eyes when it comes to his character designs, and Sam has brought that and put that in his work. And yeah, that's another thing. And one last thing is expressions. He has become very, very, very good at drawing expressions over the past few years, especially coming from a background where he did a lot of realism. It's very hard to get expressions down, but the way he's been able to stylize them over time is something that I find so amazing and that I hope to learn from while going through this process. So that's what I plan to learn. Okay, secondly, now we're going to go into the studying part of it, and I'm just, as you guys are watching the time lapse, I'm just going to share some things that I've learned from Sam's process and how he breaks his process down here and there. So the first thing that he does is sketch, and the sketch is very, very loose, so to speak. It's not as detailed, and that was something that really took a lot of getting used to for me, is the fact that there's a certain non-reliance on the sketch, whereas you're painting more than you're drawing, and that's something that was a really big shock to me. The next thing that he does is put the base colors, but before the base colors is the background. He works on the background where the character is. In this piece, the character is sitting on a gaming chair, as can be seen in the reference, and as a result, he works on that background first, making sure that it looks alright, and then now he works on the character. After doing so, he works on the shadows. This is where now we start seeing the shadow below, the shadow for the neck, and the shadows on the face, and the shadows for the hair. And then after that, he starts doing additional details. One thing about his process that I found relatively interesting compared to mine is how painterly it is. So he'd put a new layer, and then he'll paint on that, and then he'll merge down, and then he'll paint and then merge down, and paint and merge down, and he'll work on the merged down layers as well. So it's becoming very painterly, whereas, as I said earlier, there's not much reliance on the sketch, so to speak. And then after he's done with the shadows, now we'll go into sort of additional details like the headphones that the character is wearing and the hair, and that's the point at which we'll start adding the eyes and highlights and stuff like that. And then we move on to refinement and smaller details, so like the curve in the headphones, or the clothing folds. And another thing that I realize is that he doesn't over render. He has a focal point, which is the face. So if the face is rendered to a specific degree, he won't apply that same amount of detail to the clothing, for example, or to the hand that's holding the headphones. He won't apply the same amount of detail to those things because they're not the focal point. Because if you put too much detail into everything, people's eyes will be all over the place. That's another thing he's very good at, is making you focus on what he wants you to focus on. And so those are the things that I learned, and this is the final result of that painting. I think it came out decently okay for my first study, and also considering the fact that it literally took a whole day. The process video is around an hour and 24 minutes, but I was finishing this at 1 a.m. on a Wednesday or something like that. But I think it's worth it. And now to the third part, which is application. So I'm going to be applying this to my own piece, so you guys watch the time lapse for that, and let me know what you think of it. And so that is the final result. I'm personally super proud of how it came out, and it was well received online as well. And I feel like I learned so much from, especially when it comes to the skin rendering. I think that's something that I really want to carry into my future pieces personally, and it's been so cool. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I guess I was just scared to fail. But now that I'm in a mode of trial and error when it comes to my art, I think this was a perfect activity for me to try and do. And I recommend studying your favorite artists. There's always so much you can learn, and I look forward to studying more of my favorite artists in the future. So feel free to comment your thoughts, comment what you think, any future videos you think I should try doing, any challenges, any questions that you may have. Also feel free to follow me on Instagram. That is where I am the most active. And also thank you for 2.4 thousand followers. We reached that milestone like today morning, after we were at 2,000 followers like 2 weeks ago. So just 400 more people is a lot of people, and I'm more than grateful for that. As always, have a wonderful day. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope that you enjoy the video. And so that's it from me. Thank you and goodbye.